copy, paste, and then that's there. So I will hit the go live button. And then as soon as that says it's live, I'll switch back to this overlay because we've got
did it
no
twice.
dial,
You did it twice in a row.
I will read out.
You desire, you crave the JoJo.
Back in front of my face. Here we go. Right, here's the intro. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast from... No. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime. It's not... we're not
hey,
JoJo anymore. Yes.
Oh.
So... yes, I want JoJo. We've got no JoJo. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast from Dynamite.
I thought I was going to be the one
of the
bad
Sailor
this
Madness.
week.
So
Right.
come along and hang with Let's Go Gang. I know that's not right either, but we'll fix it next week.
That's
Dwayne.
who he is. That's what we do.
There's no dial. And it's me, Brian. So, proving my point from last week, I am running on fumes. So, here we go. It's the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime. That's what we call us. That's the catchphrase. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. We're actually a full week of stuff this time. And we're going to start off with Life with an Ordinary Guy who reincarnated
For
into
one
a
thing,
Time
like the
Fantasy
king
Knockout,
and his
episode
guardsmen
9.
being
A guy
there
who
in like
reincarnated
towels,
as a fantasy knockout
that
and
was
a beautiful
great.
girl.
That was a great look because obviously they worship
in
the
which
goddess of love, so
we
they're
go
probably not
to
wearing any clothes.
the palace where we meet the king,
And
who has a prophecy he must impart to our hero and her weapon.
Something a party girl would text you, yeah.
Yes. And the prophecy sounds like something a party girl has told the king.
I'm playing a tabletop where it's like a billion years in the future, and I'm thinking of having a bunch of prophecies written down now that have survived that are just text speak, and they're just like, what can we interpret from this? Because it's so fucking good.
Himself on the harp.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very succinct, very simply. It's just the goddess catching him up.
Yes.
But they don't realize that it's that
studied
simple
this
a message.
long and hard, even though it basically just explains the premise of the show. Yeah, so what's the I can't remember what Jinjuji's problem is.
The reason he is a traitor who has assassination techniques as a special skill is because he's a spy. It's like as a traitor you go places, and as a spy you have assassination built in.
Secret intelligence
to your character class, yeah.
Yes.
A woman like lying down and the continents are the parts of the body, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or I suppose a woman in like curled in a fetal position.
Which is just in the shape of a woman. Yes. They're going to use Tachibana's powers on the king, and it does work, but it's and then we get into the crux of the dramatic crux of the episode is that Tachibana later on in the episode realizes that Tachibana specifically wants Jinjuji to praise. So
it's for the most of the episode. Like the thing is, they're going to have a big royal ball, but obviously she's not allowed in because I was going to say everyone will fall in love with her. They already have, and they're like clamoring at the balcony to try and get at her. But she gets a bollocking from Shinjuji, who's like, no, you can't because you only fuck it up. You always fuck it up. You fuck everything up. You know, kind of it's like a real kind of thing where she kind of goes off in a huff and is like, this fucking sucks. Why can't I be the main character for once? But she is the main character when she's... What we find out is the princess, and is obviously the princess if you watch the intro or anything, from taking her own life out of boredom.
Yes. Yes, and also the princess is
like what was it, like
Tachibana's
light hair, like kind of like pretty,
into.
like small,
so
but also like kind of a dick. Yes.
Yeah, melancholy, yes. It's childlike but intelligent, but also a little melancholy. And so sees the princess sitting by the window in a very sort of 90s fantasy OVA pose of the wind blowing her hair, and then she probably tries to throw herself out of said window. And there is like it's fun that it's a character who is the fantasy that he's that
I think the problem with Audrey slash himself is we're going to be switching back and forth with pronouns depending on the situation, which character.
Yes, on how they are behaving.
Which I think is fine. I think that's part of the fun of it. Like one of my favorite jokes in this episode is the thing of, "Oh, lady, totally my type of lady." And then later realizing, "Oh wait, you're just like my friend. No wonder I'm into you." And I was like, "Fucking, you just said a gay slash straight thing if we consider you a woman." Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Tachibana slowly realizes both that she's immature, but also like his friend. And then the crux of the thing is like, and then you get into the bit with him like talking about praising, and then realize, why is it lots of people praise me and it does nothing for me, so why am I craving the praise of Jinjuji?
God, I wonder why.
This must be the effect of the curse.
Which is very funny because they literally know the mechanical function of the curse because they read the stat sheet.
Yes.
Like that's not part of the curse.
Dear. So then the princess wants to come and join them on their quest to defeat the Demon King. And so they report her to her father because...
there's a nice scene of just like, oh, well, obviously we're not letting the princess come with us. But then Audrey, I'm not sure which name to go with, reports the princess to the king. And then in his head, Tachibana's like, fucking good idea. This is the way. Go to the parent. Go to the boss. Like, that's very clever thinking. I like I like the way you think. Only you.
Jinjuji's like, well done, Tachibana. And always said you were right for human resources. They've suddenly they try and deal with it in a way that is 32-year-old salaryman way of dealing with things.
They go over her head. But all the praise that he has for her is entirely in his head. He's just kind of smiling. It's like, good fucking plan. And then later, like completely misinterpreting the situation, was like, "Oh, we need to give her a dressing down," and he's kind of like winking, is like, "Yeah, I got this. It's like, actually, King, Your Majesty, no wonder she couldn't come. She's totally ill-suited for adventure."
And he's right, because Tachibana is being very careful because he knows the throwing out themselves out the window element of the part of the story.
They're trying to let her down. She's trying to let her down gently because, like you were nearly going to commit suicide earlier.
Yes.
out of sheer boredom. Yeah. So.
So this backfires when Jinjuji also tells them off. Tachibana's like, no, only the dad can tell them off, and then she gets totally mad and calls Jinjuji an idiot, and then points out her dad's wig.
Dear.
Says no longer cares about the Demon King. The kingdom should be destroyed. And then the last 5 minutes is her going about doing that very thing by raising a revolution to overthrow the monarchy.
And it's so great because Tachibana kind of comes across her punching a pillow. It's actually like a teddy of that monster from the start of the show, where she's venting her frustration. It's like, oh, that's very mature of you. Like, my friend, no wonder I'm really into you. Okay, and I was just like, that's fun. It's like, yeah, no, I'll support you in whatever way you want to do. I'll help you out, that kind of thing. It's like, cool, help me overthrow the king and destroy monarchy. And she's kind of like, what have I been dragged into? So the king and his cronies are trying to plan. It's like, well, the princess is leading the revolution against us, so what are we going to do? How about the intelligence division? You guys are a useless function. How about you guys sort this out?
Yes. So the head of what's her name, Moria or something like that. She goes and then as Shen's balancing food on top of Jinjuji's brooding head, the bird comes and delivers the message that she was captured within a day. And then we end up with the princess rousing the rebellion with Tachibana by her side. And Tachibana is wondering how on earth she'd got into this mess.
It's all very good. There's a lot of stuff.
They're gonna have to call in that guy to deal with it. Who, if you watch the end credits, you know who that guy is, and if you actually, you could probably guess who that guy is, and the preview for the next episode confirms who that guy is. But also some of the, and also because there's no more characters to introduce from the credits.
Yeah, we got the whole cast now. I
think so, barring any demons, because they're not in the credits.
I guess the only demon in the credits is the animated armor.
Yeah. I was thinking more like the end credits when they're all doing their performances. Their little
yeah. They all line up and everything.
Well, funny things. Oh, when the king's gonna, we also get Jinjuji having a fantasy moment where he imagines marrying Tachibana, having a kid with Tachibana,
and having babies,
growing old with Tachibana, being buried in the same graveyard with Tachibana.
In the same family plot. Oh, that's the dream, man. But yeah, he has to knock himself out of that reverie.
This is after him saying that I'm not attracted to you in that form. I was like, okay, what form are you attracted to him in? Tachibana, Jinjuji rather. You do protest a little too much. The pair of them do, which is the gag throughout. Is
yeah. It's still a good gag, like.
Yes.
And much in all of the gender or whatever bending, it is the kind of joke is basically just like these two are clearly like mad about each other. They're just too fucking stupid and I guess self-obsessed in their own kind of ways.
I think that.
Pay attention to that.
Oh, and the funny thing was when she demands that the princess demands that Jinjuji does something stupid, and he goes into the flat.
Oh yeah, he does his trick
and fetches his fire-breathing trick that apparently he did at a after-work function in order to make sure nobody was ever asked to do party pieces at after-work functions ever again.
Because he set off the sprinklers, and he would have got everyone in a lot of trouble. But he did technically do something entertaining, so you can't.
Yes. Yeah. He did what was asked of him, but the result was such that no one would ever do it again. Which again that matches up to like their behavior in the fantasy world as well. It's like, and I think that it came through more in this episode than you've seen, I think, in other ones. But I'm sure if you look for it, it's probably there. It's like they're dealing with these things in a 32-year-old salaryman type methodology rather than what your other guy Schwartz, that's the fella's name, isn't it?
Yeah, he's dealing with it like I guess in the childish kind of kid way, the guy who plays these kind of games thing. Yeah,
he's playing it by the rules he thinks the world should work in because he's read about them and played the games. Where they've just
he's playing it like he's a person playing it as the main character. How about that?
Yeah, where they've kind of got like the cultural osmosis of what these sort of worlds are, because they mention about how easy it is the heroes of these stories get to meet the kings of the countries.
Yeah,
they're not trying to
just walk right
not trying to play by the rules necessarily. Though I guess they're aware of the rules, and then they're sort of using their businessman knowledge to game it to a degree.
Yeah.
And of course their magical powers. But yeah, another good episode. Really enjoyed this show. As I say, it was a funny gag to have a character who is the thing that Tachibana has ended up being turned into, and then realizing both, that's not necessarily as attractive as Tachibana had in his head, because the character is not quite living up to the fantasy of that person.
And it's the thing that obviously he's having trouble dealing with. It's what he's outwardly finds attractive and what personality, what kind of inward stuff he finds attractive. Like realizing that she is actually quite like your level-headed friend in her own way.
But as we're constantly repeating, you're dealing with an adolescent here. So it's like the love interest element is almost gone within minutes of like realizing, this is just a moody teenager I'm dealing with. So I've got to tread a lot more carefully. But a moody teenager who can raise a revolution against their father.
I mean, that is how that works in these kinds of scenarios. Yeah. So yeah, that's fair.
Then we got I'm KODAMA Kawashiri, episode 9, Strategic Retreat, where she's worried that her productivity levels are dropping because she hasn't been getting some sleep. So, what if she goes to sleep? That will get her productivity shooting back up. So she goes to sleep and then sleeps all the way through the end credits as we see her productivity drop and drop and drop as she's asleep for days on end.
Yeah, it's the idea, the difference between like being able to power nap and manage your time and just sleeping all fucking day, which sometimes you need to do, I guess, but yeah, not good all the time.
Then Ninjala, they've got their day off lessons. So
yeah,
what are their names?
Ninjala episode 9. Emma and Lucy. If I combine their names, fun-sized adventure.
That's it.
I'm not sure what's fun-sized about it. I mean, like they fight kidnappers and shit.
They do. They. I can't remember. I'm beginning to lose interest in this show. When it's not focused on Burton and Bereka.
I mean, like next episode, we're probably going to get the other two adults who have been turned into children, so that might be fun.
Might be fun because I think once they're in there, maybe they'll also raise the interest levels a bit. But I have to say, I don't really care about the kid characters because I'm not a kid, and therefore I don't need.
Well, you are watching a kids show, and 50% of the characters are actual children.
Yes,
so
50% of them are adults turned into children.
Our Detective Conan. Yeah.
So it's a weird way where there are quite a few more characters to identify with in this kids show for adults. But yes, there's kidnappers and they spend about half the episode beating the shit out.
Yeah, I've forgotten her name now, but the lady business ninja shows up and she's like kind of helping them, but she also purposely gets kidnapped just to see how they handle the situation, which I did appreciate. It was like, no, I just want to see if you guys can handle it, and obviously you can't.
Yeah,
you're basically pro ninjas at this stage.
Lucy's the punk one, isn't she? Yeah, she just beats them with a stop sign. Which is
that's pretty great. Yeah. And then your one kind of going is like, I'm not going to do any more vigilante justice. I'm going to school now. I'm flying straight and keeping right. And it's just like crime. Ugh, I do need to fight the crime though. Whereas Lucy's just like people I can be violent. So sure, that works out. And they're kind of friends / rivals by the end of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Were Burton and Bereka up to anything? I think the other kids get a few things to do.
The other two kids are like go for a walk, and they basically race each other walking until they're wrecked, basically. But yeah, not much else as far as I remember.
Yeah. But yeah, it's Ninjala. The cat's there. Burton wants to run tests on. Is it Gumchi, the little yellow weird thing?
Mm-hmm. But it would be rude to just run tests without paying him back in smoothies.
There we go. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I see. I'm looking at the next episode preview now, and yeah, we do get 2 new classmates who look very familiar. So yeah, I'll carry on checking in for a bit, but maybe I won't watch any more after this. But having said that, there's not much on in the next season as far as I can tell. So
it's fairly quiet, and you can temporarily watch it for free.
Yes.
So
then we got Ranking of Kings, episode 21, the Swordsmanship of a King, in which they pull out all the stops on the animation.
Oh yeah.
This is a fantastic looking episode where Boji beats up his dad.
And they're halfway between going like, should we not let Boji do this? Because that seems like a remarkably bad idea. Because at this stage, Boss has turned around and basically went, all right, either declare fealty to me right now, or I assume you're declaring fealty to Boji, and I will kill all of you right now. Because he's basically going like, I need to be the bad guy in this situation because I need to. You can't give up on Miranjo's plan, even though it's not a plan he asked her to do. Yes. But he kind of continues with playing the baddie.
Your 4 lads step up. It takes Appius. The hardest Domus is like straight up there, and then Boji steps in front of them, and Despa's like, "No, guys, you gotta leave this to Boji. you are going to get your asses kicked. Please kindly retreat. But Domus still has nothing, won't hear that, and so Boji has to paralyze Domus to save his life. Then it's Boji and Kage. Let's go take care of your dad. And then we get like a metaphorical. I guess it's showing like the sheer destructiveness of his attacks, even in his tiny form. They show you the giant boss,
like as big as the kingdom boss, nearly, by the look of it. Like I like the thing, and I don't know, did anyone complain about this? But I like to think that the destruction you see is real. That happened.
Yes.
But that the Boji fighting a giant boss didn't happen. That kind of way. But like, why would you care when it looks this fucking good?
Yeah. And beaten by his own son, he then goes and destroys Miranjo's mirror.
Well, he tries to, and then Boji knocks him the fuck out.
Then we get a brief cutaway to the Underworld Kingdom, where the representative of the Reincarnated Kings is like, "Do you want to be number one, Desha?"
There's probably a cure to your brother's shit in the fucking treasury. And I loved his thing of his laziness of just like, listen, my brother's a fucking weirdo, but he'll figure it out because he's a smart weirdo. I have utmost trust in him. I was like, okay, you're all right. You're an evil king of the underworld, but you're okay. Yes. Also, he's smart enough to go like, no, I do not want the bad prize to go crazy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, how does the mirror get smashed? I can't remember now.
The way the mirror gets smashed is Despa asks Boji to destroy it, because Miranjo asks Boji to destroy it. That's it. Because he's the only one who can, since he's defeated his own father. And that'll break the curse to free Daida. Because I did like that kind of shot as well of like Boji's resolve kind of stealing, where he sees his brother defend him from some town bullies. And it's just like, no, I want my brother back. It was a nice kind of like silent moment of that. But so Despa was saying, one of my favorite bits, besides all the excellent fighting in this, my favorite bits of animation is Kage climbing up Despa and punching him in the face.
Yeah.
To say, it's like, why are you making him kill her? That's really fucked up, man. But I think Boji says something along the lines of, I'll defeat the demon or something like that. That's his plan.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, because when the demon immediately appears on Miranjo's death, and that seems to be what Despa and the captain were. This entire thing was to get this demon.
Yeah, they were kind of nodding to each other. It's like, okay, go get him, Captain. That kind of thing. Yeah. Whereas and the entire time, like, there's a lot of stuff between Miranjo and Boss, where Boss is like, oh, okay, I'll join you together in the afterlife. She's like, sure thing. Boss is like, I'm not fucking going to the afterlife. I'm going to get eaten by a demon as soon as we turn into souls, which she promptly does and gets left behind while Boss ascends to heaven, I guess. But then we get to see inside the demon, and hey, you get eaten forever. That sounds great. Yes.
But also, the little demon that we see her playing with in her past is also here. So, yeah, I'm like, is the demon in a similar position to Miranjo, where it's got its childlike essence still buried deep within it?
And it's while Miranjo has obviously come back from her corruption, her separation of who she was as a kid and who she became as an adult. The demon presumably doesn't have that yet, because he's still, the big version of him inside him is still munching away on those souls.
Yeah. Everybody has a tiny demon and a big demon inside them. Yeah, I don't know if they're still. I don't know if they're still and inside the demon, or whether they're in some sort of. Anyway, I'm sure we'll find out in the next
like
two
purgatory
episodes.
Or something like that. Because the little kid demon says something along the lines of "Welcome to the land of eternal torment" or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just smashing up souls and biting into them, and then they reform and carries on doing it.
Well, he vomits them up grossly and then starts doing it again as they reform. It's really good for a thing that's very abstractly presented, because obviously they're screaming the entire time, as you would. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is now.
Just Boji's got to beat up that demon.
Yeah, I don't know how you get to him. Unless he's still outside that's just the inside of the world, and that he's still outside.
Yeah, he did jump up and like eat Miranjo's soul.
Yeah.
So he like, is he going to land back down again?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But he also appeared out of nowhere from behind a column. So
like, I feel like I shouldn't be attributing physics to this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like how they shot the. In fact, like how they shot the entire thing. But I did like the shot of him appearing out from behind a column. Was like, that's a fun bit of fun use of
Yes.
the geography of the scene you're in.
There's some really, really good, really interesting framing in this.
Yes.
Besides like the good animation. Yeah, they really went the whole hog with this. Yeah.
Yeah, like the bit where Desha's like scratching his face with his wand as he turns down being ranked number 1.
Yeah, even like the subtle bits are very well done. Yeah.
Yeah, good episode. 2 more to go. Then we got Detective Conan, episode 1038, Police Academy arc, Wild Police Story Case, Date Wataru.
God, how many episodes did we skip? I'm trying to
remember.
Fair few,
I think. Well, actually, maybe not that many, because I think there might be lots of remaster stuff airing in Japan.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we're back at Police Academy.
We're back at Police Academy, focusing on another cop who, again, seems to not like other cops all about this much. This time, he doesn't like all the racist cops who are at the academy with him.
Well, it's established that like he doesn't like the racist cops who are pointing out that, oh, it's like, you're a Westerner, you can probably speak English and that kind of shit. Because he's gone out with a blonde lady, so presumably like he kind of feels it. And also, he doesn't like cops because his dad was a cop, a presumably not good cop. Because like as soon as he told the story, I was like, dude, that's heroic. What are you talking about?
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how you're supposed to do it. And to be fair, that's how Ray is as well. It's like, oh, I think your dad was right. And then obviously it turns out one of the other cops was there as a kid in that flashback.
Good thing I can give extra context to make what is already makes him look good look even better, I guess. Yeah. It doesn't just make him look brave, it makes him look sensible, basically.
Yeah. So there's some stuff at the start with there's various people because of the look of Ray, assuming various things about him, and I think there's the bit which is I guess is more powerful in Japanese. Once you translate gaijin to foreigner, it loses a bit of the sting of the insult behind calling somebody that.
What would the equivalent be? Like you'd have to call them like a vulgar or somewhat vulgar thing, like calling them like a yank or a limey or something like that. You know, one of those kind of terms that
but I don't think
meant kind of derogatory.
Nobody knows. I don't think anybody knows what side of his parentage. Exactly. Part of the plot. Wataru's girlfriend is a character who is part of a mystery of an earlier episode.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was tying in. I did like the reveal when it's like, hey, you've been defending that guy a lot. Do you love him? And he's like, no, dude, I got a girlfriend. They're all like, fucking what? They're all very, very jealous.
They are, and we know one of them is a would-be womanizer. But I'm gonna guess from his responses that maybe he's not a successful womanizer.
Yeah, the other thing that made me think that was the guys are like, hey, you want to go out this weekend? We could go thing. He's like, I want to go to like a bike shop or a car parts shop, and I was like, dude, that's so boring. Come on.
Well, there's definitely something up with your other guy, the guy who eventually becomes Scotch, the other undercover agent in the black organization.
Because while they're watching the big cadet beat up on everyone and give harsh life lessons about being a real cop is invincible. I think they just randomly mentions like I saw a guy with a weird goblet tattoo there the other day, and he's like, fucking goblet. We need to find that guy, although I can't explain why.
Yeah, because I think that's why they're at the motorcycle shop, is more to do with.
Yeah, that's where he saw the tattoo.
Whatever he's investigating. And then I do like how smug Jinpei is after the fact, before they get to the other part of the story of like, well, like, I had problems with my dad, but I sorted them out because I'm great. Okay. Morofushi, what's your...
I've resolved my backstory.
Are you going to tell us what your problem is so your pals can help you out? And he's like, help me. And they're like, well, that was fast. He was like, no, over there. Someone's using Morse code on that convenience store sign to spell out "help me."
Because while the other two of the five lads met up to, they're basically going to the shop together because they just happen to be going the same way and having a bit of chat. And your man's like, yeah, sorry for being so harsh. Here's my backstory. My dad was a cop, and that's why I chewed out that other guy for acting tough and also having a toothpick. Because that's the thing he used to do. Because he was a skinny guy who looked like he wasn't tough, so he'd put a toothpick in his mouth to look tough, which is great. But yeah, anyway, the convenience store got like some lunatic come in with a baseball bat, just demanding money, and the dad was like, "Hey, I'll give you my wallet, just don't hurt anyone." And he's like bowing down to him, and the kid said, "My dad's a cop, he's gonna beat you up." And then obviously the dad got the shit kicked out of him by a guy with a baseball bat. And it's like, that's how I knew my dad was a coward, because he saved everyone else in the shop from getting beat up, because you literally said that guy went on to another convenience store and robbed that one and hurt a bunch of people. Yeah, he did the right fucking thing, basically. And it, like, to the point where he got so badly injured he couldn't be a cop anymore. As we find out later, he's a janitor. I'm not sure he's been in another Detective Conan as well.
I don't think so. No, the only one of these characters who is on the wiki as cast is the girlfriend character.
Like, I didn't know if it was the same convenience store or is it just, the same general layout. But the fact that they go into a convenience store at the exact same angle and a van pulls up at the exact same angle, and I was like, well, they're going to get attacked by criminals.
I think it might
exactly
just
the same way.
A common layout. It's a bit like how all the drive-through McDonald's have got the same layouts and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like nearly the same shot that when his dad and him as a kid went into the convenience store, that it got robbed. It's like, this is the angle that convenience stores get robbed at, basically. Because it does, by like two guys with like a shotgun and a machine gun, I think. So crime's gotten worse.
Yes.
So like, it's just two guys. We can probably take them. And he's like, yeah, but we should probably watch out because like this seems a bit weird that they're just like, they're not acting kind of rushed or anything. They take everyone's phone off them. They go to that trouble, but because they have a bunch more guys, basically, is why they are acting very confident. And also the store clerk is in on it. This is an ATM robbery, basically.
It is, yeah.
They're going to rob the guards, filling up the ATM with money, basically.
Yeah. Should do it like.
And while locked in the fridge, he sets off the.
Should do it like they do it around here and just attach a chain to it and rip it out the wall.
With a tractor or whatever. Yeah.
That's I don't know. I wouldn't say a common occurrence, but definitely more frequent than you'd expect in these parts.
I guess heavy machinery is pretty easy to get access to, but
particularly in a rural area.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But while they're locked in the fridge with the other prisoners, they untie themselves by cutting the cable ties with shoelaces. I was like, would that even work?
Well,
I mean, if you had really strong shoelaces, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I just have very flimsy ones.
I think a cable tie. The cable tie bit. The important bit of the cable tie is
the locking mechanism.
Bit, isn't it? So anyway, I'm not going to cable tie myself up and try and
to test it. Sure.
You have to phone the fire brigade and say, how did it happen? Well, I saw this cartoon.
Detective Conan, wasn't it? Yeah. Happens all the time. But yeah, he sets it off. He messes with the fuse box to make the convenience store sign in Morse code say, "Help us," basically, or "Help me."
Yeah.
I think is what he's saying in Morse code. So the three lads see this and know that it is a sign. That's not just looks like Morse code. It is Morse code. So they blunder into the scene like a bunch of drunk lads. I don't know where they all got sunglasses. And they think it's like a movie shoot. They act like they think it's a movie shoot, and they invite a load of random bystanders in. It's like, hey, they said they'll let anyone in this movie shoot.
I think they're other cops. I think they've called other.
Okay. I thought they let a bunch of random people in before.
No, because when you see all the random people who are putting people in arm bars and things.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just thought it was a bunch of cool random people.
No,
that makes more sense.
I was like, oh, it's a bit odd, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes more sense. Once you see them doing police maneuvers to take people down, I was like, and then
I probably should have been watching those police women that were asking him out to a mixer earlier, and I was like, yeah, those were probably in the scene and everything. Yeah.
And it ties into the stuff that what's his name is the other one, Kenji. the one who was there at the scene of the crime in Date's past.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, it was your dad. I was there too, and your dad saved everybody because he spotted that there was other guys outside. So
there was other guys in the van, and it was just like, yeah, he wouldn't have been able to beat up all of them. If he arrested that guy, he would have got kicked the shit out of it, and everyone else probably would have as well.
But
so he was trying to be a good guy.
Yeah, they were quickly arrested after the fact, so he must have called the police, which we see him calling on the phone before he texting somebody on his flip phone before he tries to. His basic thing is like, don't threaten these other people. I'll just give you my wallet. Just take my wallet and leave. And then mouthy little kid Date is like, no, my dad's a cop. He's going to beat you up. So yes, turns out Date was wrong about his dad all this time.
And he is now interested in introducing his foreign girlfriend to his dad. And he started having a toothpick in his mouth because it's real cool. It's what the cool guys do. And as Detective Conan points out to us, as the omniscient narrator of this, they are going to be friends forever. Nothing bad is ever going to happen.
So they're all going to die one by one in various situations. Which have all tied into previous stories. So the only person who's got any mystery left around him is... Well, there is still some mystery, because it's like there's the mystery of... they found Morofuji's phone in Date's locker, didn't they, in a recent-ish episode?
Yeah, recent-ish relative to the ongoing plot that we're following. Fucking, must have been last year or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be given to his brother, because then his brother's... Is his brother's the one with the French Poirot, the Poirot mustache, I think, isn't it?
It's like him but with a mustache. Yeah.
Takake, he's got the little pencil mustache. Kome is what they call him. Oh, because his resemblance to the strategist from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, so that's where we left that part of the plot. Is he's just got the phone out of the locker, and he's got a bullet hole through it or something.
I think the casing is cracked or something like that. Yeah,
but they never found it because Date never got to his locker because he died in a car crash. So, yes, his girlfriend's also dead. That's part of the plot.
Great.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know whether I don't think the trainer has shown up in any stories, so maybe he can show up.
To die,
possibly.
Oh dear.
Yes, he's only in this so far.
I'm enjoying the side story thing, but it is kind of weird. It's just like, most of these motherfuckers are dead. We're just like spinning our wheels.
We will eventually get to meet Kenji Hagiwara's sister, though. I think she's mentioned here at some point because they're on the wiki. But yeah, they'll be showing up in 2 future stories because Ayama likes to do that occasionally. It's like he'll even put anime original characters in if they're popular. They'll get their eventual.
Oh, so
official...
that anime episode was actually so popular, it is canon now. So
often like a movie character or something, or maybe he designs the character already and gives them to the movie people to put in a movie first. I don't know, but obviously the only one we got close with that with One Piece is your guy with the swords for legs, who's mentioned.
He showed up in the comic,
but we don't. Maybe he's the guy whose back we see hanging out with the Doctor and Laboon.
It's very unclear. For the most part, a lot of the One Piece movies are literally impossible in canon.
Obviously, we're comparing them because they are just about as old as each other at this point.
At this first stage, yeah.
Righty-ho, that's Detective Conan. So now, tell me all about My Dress Up Darling. We've all got struggles. Is one of the struggles continue to watch this show, or are you fine this week?
I'm mostly fine this week. How about that? It kind of opens. It does this constantly. It kind of opens to round off everything that happened in the end of the last episode, whereas it likes to end the episodes on like a high note, and then so straight after the denouement, there's a bunch of stuff we have to take care of, and that'll be the start of the next episode. It's a really weird way of doing it. But yeah, in this one, the of the title, the everyone's got we've all got struggles, is them kind of finishing up the photo shoot and having a laugh and getting some good photos, and just kind of enjoying it. Is the younger sister kind of realizing that her older sister is there's things she knows she can't do, because it's like, I don't have the figure like you to do certain characters. I tend to pick characters I like, but also ones I can manage to cosplay, and there's certain things I know I can't do, which is why I was jealous of you being able to cosplay that guy from the anime, because it's just something I'm not capable of. But she's all in support of her younger sister to keep cosplaying and having a good old time. And that scene is kind of bookended nicely with Gojo and Kitagawa like on the phone to each other. It's like, oh, I didn't know you made her a costume. And it's like, when did you manage to do that? It's like, oh, we wanted to do it in secret, so she came over and I did the measurements and everything. And she's like, you had another girl in your thing? And she's like, I don't know how I feel about that. And that's like 8 or nearly 9 minutes in, and then the credits start, and then the actual new bit of plot happens. So he's met a new costume off screen during the credits, I assume, because it is basically 2 belts. And I knew that one was coming, because it's basically like a skirt that is a belt and like a barely there like belt across the chest. It appears to be a character from like a pretend Guilty Gear based off the kind of faux rock and roll that's going on in the background. But what Kitagawa was really excited about with this one is the underboob, because underboob is good for a growing boy or a girl or some, I forget what weird way she puts it. But she's showed up to his thing in fake tan, and she's all ready to go. But then she's like, nah, I'm going to need to take a shower. It's actually too hot out today. And they're kind of going through and all the bits. And she got some fake manacles on her legs. And I was like, okay, I can see where this is going. Some Halloween props. It's like, she's going to fall down and do all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so she lifts up her shirt to try and apply this foundation. And I was like, watch it show, because you're doing this in a boy's room, but you're trying to entice him. But yeah, she trips and falls and just busts her head. She doesn't land on him boob first or anything like that. It was just like, okay, so she bumps her head and she's like, okay, now my wig's not going to fit. So I'll tell you what, instead, the way the last day you were worried about your old-fashioned kind of clothes and that kind of shit, I'm going to take you shopping. And unrealizing, Gojo not realizing that they're going on a date. She's taken him to like a boys' clothes store where she's trying out various shirts. And her initial reaction is kind of like, ugh, all of these look really bad on you. And it's just like a flat face. But then her internal monologue is like, how is he so hot in all of these things? My particular favorite was the Flames Guy Fieri shirt that he was wearing. Did not suit him. They go out and get some ramen. It's all nice. They have a date. And then he kind of says, I got to be honest with you, Kitagawa. I can't take pictures of you wearing that new costume with the 2 belts, because it's too much. It's too much. I don't know what I'll be able to do with myself. And he's worried she's going to be upset, but she's like, oh, so you are into me. Oh, that's fantastic. Ah, you pervert. Ah, this is great. Like, this entirely feeds into her. It's like, brilliant. Okay, so he finds me hot. Fantastic. That's step 1 of my master plan. And it just sort of ends on that kind of funny note. Yeah, it's still good fun. It is definitely horny. There is an extended sequence of her taking her clothes off to take a shower or a bath or whatever. And I was just like, there's so much of it that I either rotoscoped or like very lovingly like, let me have the shifting weight of someone like standing on one leg and then the other. I was like, all right, show, all right, I get it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because you could do that with you could do that without coming across horny, like that the bath episode of God, what was it called? The Wacky Races show.
Like that was just horny for the dudes for the most part.
Yeah, I think it was horny for like the shape of human flesh, but beyond that, it wasn't horny.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually expecting you to be horny. It was just like, look at how well we've drawn how the weight of a human body looks when it moves around and sits down and does things, but they weren't moving in a horny manner.
Yeah, like the dialogue in the scene is her like changing, and he's like, "Here, you can wear my gym uniform." And obviously later he's a little too horny about that, the boyfriend shirt, as we talked about in a prior episode. But basically like the conversation is actually like, hey, you could totally like peek or something, and I'd be like in a manga, and I'd be like, you perv, and he's like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. That'd be literally a crime. So they're poking fun at those kind of tropes while also literally like
indulging in them.
Indulging it for the audience kind of thing. Yes. Characters aren't indulging in it, but the audience is supposed to, I suppose. Yeah. I'm enjoying the human moments. I'm enjoying the awkward teens clearly into each other kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely horny all the time. Same as it ever was.
And then, talking of horny, but there's nobody horny in this particular episode of Lupin the Third, Part 6, Episode 22. Is it My Mother's Documents?
That's it, yeah.
In which we meet Finn, a 16-year-old girl who is apparently pregnant. Is she pregnant or not? Because the person who acts like she's pregnant is clear to be senile by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I don't think she's pregnant, but then she's having a reaction similar to what her mother had while pregnant with her. Which is weird, and it makes me think it's like, is that a pregnancy thing, or is that part of the...
The sinister-old lady acts like she's pregnant, but that's when you think she's sinister, and then at the end it's because she's behaving like that because her mental faculties aren't there.
Yeah, it's seemingly like something between like she's having a like she's got Alzheimer's or some kind of disease where she's reliving.
Yeah.
Exactly, she thinks it's 16 years ago where. As Finn is doing, she's spending the time in this thing to try and solve the mystery of, I guess, kind of who her dad is or who her mother was.
But the real mystery is who was her mother's tutor.
Yeah, that's the mystery that Lupin and I've forgotten her name now. The flower girl.
Yeah,
or not really a flower girl.
Deadly assassin.
That they're tuning into her live podcast of her mother's tape diaries.
Yes.
Which is very like, Lupin, what do you like? I know, like, she mentions like she had a Japanese tutor.
Yes.
And they have like they have a search parameter. If anyone fucking starts looking up Japanese tutor, they go like, let me fucking
tutor in a kimono is the specific phrase.
That's the search term. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one that flags them onto her. I'm going to call it a podcast. I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
I think it's like a live, like a Instagram live,
like a live stream Instagram of audio. Yeah. So something like that.
Yeah. So I think it's more. That thing is more popular. I think there is like a specific app in Japan that I've seen people use on Twitter.
Like, I can see it as a good variation of. I mean, like, what kind of podcasting is as radio. And obviously the live thing has a lot of appeal because. In the moment kind of stuff of it. Yeah.
Matea, is that her name? Lupin, the assassin girl. Yes, it's Matea.
Yeah.
Matea is the flower lady / and the fun thing is, like, the one person who tunes in has like a floral name and symbol, so you're not quite sure which one it is, but it's clear it's Lupin by the end because he's got the same one on his hat, and he's going there to deliver flowers.
Also, his icon is obviously just his little peanut fucking head version of himself.
Yeah. So they're both listening to this and heading towards Matea's location. No, not Matea's location. Finn's location. In this.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I love there's a lot of great direction in this. Like the her pressing the tape and then commenting on stuff that the mother's happening, and the kind of cuts in between. They show the tape player either playing or recording is the transition between now and the past,
and it slowly becomes more and more sinister.
Yeah, so her mother died 16 years ago, giving birth to her, or soon after giving birth to her. So she's trying to figure out like which of these cute boys in soccer class was my mother into us and therefore is my dad, and which isn't. And like there's one guy who's clearly like she's always talking about him and she's mad about him, and she actually became like one of the coaches so she could get closer to him. And there's another guy she hates because he's a prick. And then we have this mysterious Japanese tutor wearing a kimono who's brought in to teach her stuff as she's staying here in her pregnancy because she still needs to go to school. Her mother was 15 when she died, I think.
Yeah, no, it's the other way around. So Finn's 15, the mother was 16. Yeah.
One was 16. Sorry, yeah, I had the reversal. They're very close in age.
Maybe I'm like the old woman. I get them mixed. And it is tricky because they do look similar, being mother and child, and sometimes you're like, okay, which haircut is it? Which character is it?
And yeah, a lot of the show is kind of playing off the thing of them being quite similar. The thing of Finn trying to find out what kind of person her mother was, through her diaries and these tapes that are in this house that she stayed in while pregnant with her. And the other thing is the way it is. Goddamn, what is the Lupin's mother / tutor? What's her name again? Tomoe. Tomoe, I'm going to call her Tomoe, even though it's just like, how old is Tomoe? We do never see her eyes, and she's always like shaded, and it's always just the mouth. And I was like, is Tomoe one person even? But Tomoe seems to be trying to influence the situation of that guy who you hated is actually the father of your child, and that other guy isn't. And she's trying to like nearly gaslight her into being into thinking one way rather than the other.
Yeah, and then
it seems to be.
She sends some sort of brainwashed assassin to kill them both.
Yeah, and the footage of that was like obviously taken from like inspired by like school shooting stuff. It was kind of besides the general sinisterness of the rest of this, that was very disturbing. Yeah. Because obviously you have Lupin and you're one like looking up stuff online and they can find the footage of the shooting. Whereas when we cut to the past, it's the mother actually hearing this over the phone because she was talking to her boyfriend back in the States at the time. Yeah. It's really good. Like just the kind of cuts back and forth. I really enjoyed the kind of mystery of this one. And obviously the mystery that our characters in the show are interested in is not the one that the main character of this episode is interested in.
No, but
this really nice kind of double contrast.
Why is Mateo coming here to possibly kill that girl?
Like to clean up after her kind of thing, because she does mention something about Tomoe is like, you didn't finish the job kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, so is Finn like a witness because you didn't kill her? What the fuck is going on? Yeah, it's a really weird one.
Also, Zenigata is on the trail because Lin Feng Wang is back and her computers identified Matea's face heading towards Rovenland, the fictional Scandinavian country.
Fictional Finland or something, yeah. But so Zenigata is like has to get that. Was it a recording device or was it a USB? I can't remember. I think it was a recorder. Yeah. He gets to get that to Lupin. And we have lots of shots of like, I did like the lads kind of going, just like, oh, are we going somewhere? It's like, we're going north, I guess. And they kind of meet Lupin partway there and he picks them up in the van.
And he's got the little pocket heater things to warm them up.
He's got the pocket heater things. He's got a woolly hat and everything. The lads are dressed exactly the fucking same. They're not prepared for the weather. Neither is Zenigata as well. They're the kind of guys rushed off their feet, whereas Lupin is the planner guy.
Yeah, you think Jigen would prepare? I think Goemon would like check this as some sort of challenge again to wander around.
Wander around in the cold in your regular gear for sure.
Also, Goemon isn't talking to you about this episode. He's got a bun cough.
Just grump. But I did like kind of Zenigata slowly trudging through the snow, and then Lupin is like, "Hey, Pops, do you need a lift or anything?" He's like, "Oh fuck, I got something for you," kind of thing. Yeah. It's a weird kind of contrast between an interesting story and filling into the main narrative of the witch and gentleman one that seems to be the theme this season.
Yes, it's creepy because it doesn't start out particularly creepy, and it's once Tomoe is introduced.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels a bit like, bizarrely like the tone of like a spooky Jonathan Creek episode. I feel like David Marshall had also pulled the trick of like, sinister old lady who just turns out to be senile, in one of those as well.
There's other films and kind of genre stuff that I know of. A person trying to solve a mystery who has no background in solving mysteries, is not a detective or anything, is just like a regular person, and it being like way bigger than them.
Yes.
I know there's other stories that do that kind of thing, but yeah, it has that kind of sinister feeling going on. That this is so much bigger than you.
Yeah, and we're just catching, and Lupin's just catching glimpses of like, what on earth is that woman I consider my mother doing? It's clearly up to no good at this point. It's...
Hmm. And yeah, like I suppose besides the fact that mostly she seems to be influencing women, like was she influencing him as well? That kind of way.
And I'm going to guess it has nothing to do with the Moriarty character introduced at the end of the second half. I imagine that might be for future plans. Or
yeah, either
we
could finish up the. It could be a fun joke. It could be like we do Witch and Gentleman, then we get back to Sherlock, and Lupin and Sherlock team up against Moriarty or some kind of thing. Or they could just, yeah, like you said, someone could do that down the line. They could do a movie on it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, about time for another TV special. Yeah, Memories of a Beloved Witch next week.
All right.
The official synopsis for that is it's a voice recorder is the thing.
Yeah. So I'm guessing there was more to it than just the interview that that your one had on that recorder. Like I'm guessing it's some other evidence she's gathered in the meantime.
Yes. So it looks like that's the thing which is going to trigger clearing up some of Lupin's memories of what he remembers and what might actually have happened in his past.
Because like we don't see a lot of what's gone on in the main plot. Like Zenegal is just getting a call from Lin Feng, and like just reacting like on the spot, just out the door straight away. And the last episode was a completely unrelated like LARP, like kind of having a good time. I have no idea if that detective woman, like she's still alive or not.
I guess
we don't know.
Find out next week. There's only 2 episodes left, apparently.
That's surprising.
Only 24. So I guess it makes sense because then we'll be in the new season of stuff.
Yeah.
That's it for this week. Still awaiting more JoJo's. Still awaiting Dragon Quest because of hackers on Toei animation servers.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's healthy way to do it. Like to actually shut everything down.
It must have just been the animation servers because the Tokusatsu stuff aired this weekend.
They might be on a separate thing. Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just like something they must whatever was attacked. I assume is somehow involved in the production, and therefore, rather than which just seemed to be what they did with COVID is, I'm going to guess that rather than put out episodes that are ready now, they don't want to like try and cram more time in than exists in the future.
I a bunch of anytime, like I guess the easy way to determine is if there was an animation studio consistently putting out animation during COVID, they've adopted some very good methodology and very good way of treating people, and hopefully they'll fucking continue to. So that's the right way to go.
Whereas I did watch episode 2 of Don Brothers, and it is absolutely bonkers. But if you want a Sentai to drop into, I'm not sure that's very representative of Sentai in general, but maybe it will get people hooked on Sentai. But that might be the idea. Maybe the idea is let's do something quite different that it will
to bring in people outside of the
or just hook maybe they're like maybe kids don't like the general formula, so we'll change things up by making the female ranger the lead. At least for the first 2 episodes, she's firmly the lead character.
Okay.
We'll do CG characters.
I did see gifs of that little chibi
dog
Sentai guy.
Yeah, it's a little dog. I thought.
Sorry.
It looks like a cat, but he's a dog. Because he should be a dog. Of course, it's Wataru. It would be a dog. He quickly uses one of the power-ups to turn into a character from an earlier Sentai series, so they can just have somebody in a suit. And then the pink one does it as well. He's like, oh my goodness, I'm dressed as a woman. And then he's only worried about being dressed as a woman or turned into a woman, literally, because it's been played by a woman once he's in the woman's...
Yeah.
He's over it in like 30 seconds. He's like, oh, this form has some use too. He's also is he the first married Sentai character? He's a 33-year-old office worker. I assume he's 33, that's the actor's age.
So an old man.
Yes, who's He's the most mediocre middle office worker you can imagine. But he's got a super hot wife. So his life's okay, but I assume something's going to go wrong with his super hot wife, given what happened to our heroine in the first episode, where she had a great life where she was debuting as a manga author, and then she was accused of plagiarism.
Oof.
And the dog guy is on the run from the law, so he's already got a problem. We get briefly introduced to the blue guy who's going to turn into like an ape Sentai, complete with a big red butt. But it doesn't happen yet. And he's a poet who pays for coffee by writing you a haiku. So he's kind of a poet, and also what's his name from Popeye?
Wimpy. Wimpy.
I always like the moocher poet character. That is always a great stereotype of like, I'm so dedicated to my cause, but
I'm glad you pay you back next Tuesday. Yeah.
Like the fellas in Woodpecker Detective's office.
Yeah, it's a good trope.
It is. It's funny seeing that guy because he shows up in Golden Kamuy eventually as well.
It's such a rich era of history to mine anime from.
Yes. Yeah, he'll be showing up in the next season, I imagine. Yeah, he should be. I think he shows up fairly quickly after the bit where we were.
Okay.
He's not drawn as sexily, though, as he is in Woodpecker Detective's office. He's a little bit more what he looked like in real life.
I assume it's because he's not ripped, because that's how you tend to be drawn sexily in Golden Kamuy.
That is true. Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think in Karma it might be the only non-ripped sexy character.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think otherwise everyone's ripped. Even young Sophia and old Sophia, if that's what you're into. In fact, she's the
definitely people are into
the
that.
Most nude woman we've seen is old Sophia. Anyway, that'll eventually be coming later this year, I think, won't it? The next season of Golden Kamuy.
Something to look forward to. That's the new studio as well.
Yeah, Brain's Base, so it should still look good. Rightio.
Yeah,
that's enough waffle. Let's hit the end button on this podcast. We're back next week with Niall. Ta-ta for now.